I'm JP Hunt with Inksoft, and welcome to the Sell More Merch podcast. Alrighty, in this episode, I want to share one of the most important sales lessons that I've ever learned in my career. This was one of those lessons that has stuck with me, and I think it's pretty profound. And in fact, I want to share the 4 takeaways that I had from this lesson and how you can implement into your business. All right, so now that I've built a bunch of hype and expectations, let me share what that sales lesson was. So I was interacting with a vendor, and the sales rep had said to me, JP, we aren't the least expensive option, but we're the best. And so immediately, the results from hearing that stood out as pretty profound, because no sales rep in my experience had ever said anything so confident and so bodacious. But really, the results were this. The first takeaway that I had was, the sales rep was very effective at helping to anchor quality. And so let me share with you this technique of anchoring, because it's useful in many, many different capacities in your marketing messaging and your sales strategy. So let me first share with you when I learned about anchoring, and that was from a TED Talk. And a psychologist had made the point that if you were to give consumers 2 options, and largely they're the same. So let's use the example that the TED Talk had used, a free all expenses trip to Rome or Paris. For many consumers, how would you make that decision? That's pretty hard, right? 2 really remarkable cities in the world, all expenses paid. You'd really have to spend a lot of time, maybe researching or considering or contemplating to really commit to one of the options. Now, in an experiment, if you were to give a little extra value, so here was the example. Hey, if you do choose Rome, you're going to get 1 free gourmet coffee to go along with your trip, your vacation. So what that resulted in was the immediate anchoring of more value. Simply by using free in your marketing messaging, that just anchors to a consumer in their mind added value. So that helps them to make a decision. Well, hey, all things are the same, but I get a little extra value with the trip to Rome. Let's commit to Rome. So with that said, anchoring is the marketing technique, rather psychological technique of helping a consumer anchor in their mind some added value, some differentiation. And there's a lot of different ways to, again, invoke this in your marketing, simply by using freemiums, simply by suggesting free. That helps a consumer to anchor in their mind, added value. So with that said, that technique all alone, you could use in many different examples. But back to the lesson that I had learned, JP, we're not the least expensive option, but we're the best. So what that did in this case, that vendor immediately in my mind was anchored as the quality premium provider. And oftentimes that's really important for a consumer, to understand, have that information in the consideration phase of the sales process to be able to differentiate through all the different options that are available. Now, the next sales lesson that I think, in terms of takeaway was, establishing and exemplifying confidence. So human behavior tells us that we're just attracted to confidence, right? If you look at, most of the CEOs running the most successful companies, if you look at some of the most successful and charismatic and popular leaders in the world, one of their qualities is charismatic, and confident leadership. So humans are just attracted to confident leaders, right? Because there's less risk involved. There's no uncertainty. So we learned, especially as males, we learned that that's an attractive trait, in courtship, right? Is being confident, So with that said, if you can be more confident in your marketing positioning, and you can inform a consumer that, hey, listen, we're not the economy provider here, but we are the best option. So if the following things are really important to you, like on-time delivery, really cool, innovative, prints and products that your team or your group or club will absolutely love, then we're the right choice for you. So with that said, confidence is key, not in just dating, not in just leadership, but it's also in marketing and marketing presentation and marketing copywriting. Confidence is really critical. All right, so the third takeaway was the ability to open the door to differentiation. And I kind of just addressed that. But immediately when you're comparing, hey, listen, we're not the least expensive, but we're the best, that opens and provides a natural segue into providing differentiation. And now here's what I mean by we're the best option, and being able to enumerate the things that do set you apart from maybe the competitors down the road that might outcompete you in terms of pricing. So, the more you can differentiate your business and be very clear why people choose to do business with you compared to others, again, that's going to help anchor and establish confidence and help consumers commit to you, or even potentially filtering them out. So maybe it's a good idea to potentially create filters that naturally will detract consumers that are going to be your least profitable consumer, that are going to tie up resources. In fact, I just read something on the Screen Print Marketing Group, Facebook group, that there is no added, labor or work or effort, to get an economy customer versus a premium customer. I mean, it's almost the same sales journey, the same sales process, the same decorating labor. At the end of the day, one's going to be more profitable than the other. So in some cases, establishing filters is actually a good thing. In fact, Inksoft, come October, when we celebrate our 10th year in business, we've always had an upfront software investment in order to use Inksoft. And that's always meant to been really a filter. Those decorators that are serious about growing their business versus those that are passive, or maybe startup decorators that are testing the waters. So with that said, filters can be a really valuable thing for a lot of businesses in terms of filtering out the wrong type of customer and really focusing on the target or the ideal customer. Now let's talk about the fourth and final takeaway that I think you can integrate into your marketing mix and your sales practices is as a result of being so bold by saying we're not the least expensive option, but we're the best. This immediately moves consumers away from price as the primary or potentially only consideration in the sales journey. So if I can shift the focus away from price strictly and I can shift that on to other considerations, I stand to, again, differentiate. I stand to, exemplify confidence. I can anchor quality and all those other factors that should be part of the calculus when choosing a provider to execute on marketing needs or decorated apparel. So with that said, the more you can get away from price as the only consideration, and you can invoke a lot of other things that might be important, like, hey, it seems like you have a premium brand. You probably want to align premium products and imprint and other maybe embellishments or finishing touches that are going to really help to drive your marketing goals. So again, you can help shift away the focus from price only onto other factors that are important and relevant in your customers' decision making. At the same time, this helps you to establish yourself as more of a consultant, as a solutions provider. You're helping the consumer understand options and alternatives. And oftentimes I've integrated and worked with, different vendors, and they've been pretty helpful in saying, hey, listen, JP, it's not a right fit, but let me give you some referrals to other folks. So they've actually aided me in choosing what might be the better aligned fit. But in my mind, the takeaway is, hey, this was an honest, upstanding citizen. In the future, if I have needs that align to what their mix or offering might be, I'm going to go back to them, to do them a solid. So again, there's a lot of benefit, ancillary benefit, from helping folks understand considerations, both positive implications and potentially factors that are going to help you say no to an opportunity. All right, so let's bring this to conclusion. Again, this is just one of those sales lessons that I've learned in my career that I've been able to engineer into our sales and marketing practices. I think that this is something that's easy enough to easily and quickly implement into your marketing mix and sales practice. Again, now that you understand the four benefits and kind of takeaways of integrating this, hopefully it gives you a bit more motivation to integrating this into your mix. Now, I'd love to hear your feedback. And really what I'm looking for is your experience in integrating this into your marketing mix and practice. Maybe you discover some new benefits that maybe I didn't uncover in today's podcast episode. I'd love to share that with our audience. At the same time, if you have any topics or ideas that you'd love to be explored in the Sell More Merch podcast, please bring those forward. So you can share your feedback and you can share your ideas by emailing me directly at jp@inksoft.com. I certainly look forward to hearing from you. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Sell More Merch podcast, and we look forward to our next episode together.